First is the process of getting out your catfishes from the pond for the purpose of selling them. This is regarded as the day of joy for the farmer, as you get to harvest your fish to see and touch what you have been spending your money on. At this point, people will be happy to come and join you in getting them out. Thus, harvesting is usually not done by one person. Cropping. This is a term used mostly in fish farming. It is also a process of harvesting your fish. Cropping is an effort to sweep out your fish out of the pond using the fish dragging net. If you want to sell your fish, you need to crop them out. If you wish to sort your fish at any point of the production, you also need to crop them out. Now let's talk about cropping or harvesting from artificial pond. It is a bit easier to crop fish from artificial ponds than the natural pond or earthen pond. Once you drain the entire water of your pond, all your fish will be exposed. You can easily be using your nets to drag them out, or simply get a basket to fetch them out. You have to be careful in doing this, as the bottom of the pond will be slimy and slippery. Harvesting from an earthen pond. The day of harvesting from an earthen pond is usually a stressful day. It requires the effort of more than one person. There are simple steps to follow in doing this. 1. Drain the pond water if the pond is deep, because it will be very difficult to sweep out your fish with such volume of water. Many will escape in your effort to get them. 2. If the pond is not constructed to self-drain, that is, if it has no draining pipe below leading to the farm main drainage to empty the pond water, you will require the use of pumping machine to suck out your water before harvesting. 3. Once water is no longer a barrier, you will need the use of a drag net to get out your fish. Be guided that for first cropping of the pond, the water must not be 100% sucked out, so dragging with net can be easy. 10% to 20% volume water left in the earthen pond will make it easy for cropping. Then for last cropping, when you wish to get the rest of the fish out down to the last fish, you can then resoak the remaining water. Use of cropping nets or drag net. Fish drag net or cropping net, as the name implies, is a thick net made up of wood or rubber used in dragging out fish from a pond. It is usually very big and requires the effort of more than one person to drag out the net and fish. The drag net has rope points and line that will constantly be under the water while dragging. It also has a rope point you hold above the water level while dragging. Most drag nets have floating balls to keep the upper rope line on the surface of the water while pulling the other end of the rope under the water. At least 2 people are to use the drag net, although this is dependent on the size of the pond and net being used. Some cases require 3 persons, while some require 4 or 5 or more to drag. You are required to drag the net from one end of the pond to another, and by the time you pull the net up, the fish or fishes will be in it. Test cropping or an earthen pond. This is an act of cropping to assess what size of fish you have in the pond before calling your customers to come on the day of harvesting. Farmers do this days or weeks before they declare the pond ready for sales. You do not need to drain all the pond water. You may not even drain at all before having persons to drag, getting out some of the fish. You get some out and you weigh them. Farmers who use artificial ponds may not consider test cropping a major or separate act in fish farming. Every time they change water of the pond, they can easily assess what is in the pond. Farmers who use earthen pond only get to see their fish well during feeding. Thus, test cropping may be required as a major act of assessment and knowing the weight of the fish. Test cropping is what most inexperienced farmers do before declaring their fish for harvest. It is very important and a good move in order to inform prospective buyers of what size to expect. Different customers buy different sizes. Some are only after the medium fish of about 200 grams to 600 grams. Some customers only need fish of about 700 grams to 1 kg, while some buyers are interested in getting any fish from 1.5 kg to 2 kg to 3 kg and above. Experience, they say, is the best teacher. Over time, over the years of being in the business, and as you sell and resell, you may not need to test crop before harvesting an idea of what size to tell your customers to come for. The number of months, the feed they have consumed, and what you assess while mere looking at the fish in the pond will give you an idea of what is in it, of what is in the pond. Harvest preparation. There are some conditions you must observe before you harvest your fish at any time during or after the production cycle. If you do not observe these precautions, it may cause problems for you and your buyers. 1. Do not harvest your fish immediately you have fed them. 2. If you are to harvest stable size catfish for sales, do not feed them at least a day before the day of harvest. 3. If you are simply changing water, you should not feed at all before changing such pond water. 4. Any feed you give to your fish immediately before you harvest is going to be a waste, and they will be vomited as you pack the fish. 5. Undigested feed your fish has before harvest will also be vomited, and so they will be weak for transportation. 6. Such fish vomiting feed will not go the distance and remain alive for the retailer to keep selling daily. Most of them will die from the stress. 7. Do not assume feeding your fish before harvesting will add more weight to them for you to gain more money. This act will damage your market reputation. This is because the buyer may want to keep their stock for days or weeks as they keep selling. Such fed fish will die in a matter of hours. Sales. The sale of fresh catfish is usually done by weighing them. The farmers do not sell per size or per piece. You cannot say this fish is XYZ price because it is very big. You need to ascertain the weight and ascertain how much you are to sell per kilogram. If the amount you sell per kilogram is 500 naira and a fish weighs 2 kg, it means the fish is to be sold at 1000 naira. The total weight of your fish is what you should be after. You can have 200 pieces of fish weigh 50 kg, and that means 50 kg multiplied by 500 naira for you. It is also possible for 200 pieces of fish to weigh 600 kg, meaning each fish is about 3 kg each, and that means 600 kg multiplied by 500 naira. Record keeping of pieces is just to determine the mortality rate you recorded in the pond. This will inform you on how to prepare the pond for next production to maintain such mortality rate if low, or getting a better result if the present mortality rate is high. And so in conclusion, as maintained earlier, harvest day is a happy day for the farmer. You get to sell your fish and smile to the bank. No matter the stress of the day, it will be an endeavor that will totally worth the efforts. But it could also be a day many of your buyers will get disappointed in you and mark you down as a bad producer. This is because many do not scrub or are inexperienced with sizes of fish, thereby giving the buyer the wrong idea of sizes of fish available for sale. Many farmers also sell fish the buyers cannot keep for long because they have been fed before harvesting. Nobody wants to buy fish from you with the hope of selling them all off in 3 days, but having them die after hours of purchase from you. Before you sell your fish, stop feeding them at least a day before the harvest day.